So, we are just a few days away from the end of June. And before you know it, it's going to be July, which means we're officially halfway through the year. So, at this point, I hope that you are right on track with getting your goals for 2025, that you are crushing everything that you had set your mind to accomplish this year. And if you are like me, where you're like, girl, life has been lifing, and no, I am not where I wanted to be. Things just came up, and unfortunately, your goals are not where you would want them to be. So, today we're going to discuss three things I believe that you can do in order for you to go back and try to get back on track and the remaining 6 months that are left for the year because you still have plenty of time to achieve your goal. Hi, I'm Anne Jean Pierre, and if this is your first time here, welcome to the Godly Business Podcast, where we discuss sales fundamentals with biblical principles. So, if you are interested in learning more about business principles, sales, and also God, this is the perfect channel for you. Just subscribe and tune in. Make sure you ask questions, leave a comment below, and let's learn and grow together. All right, so the three things that I want to talk to you about today are three things that I found that I had to do when I realized this year was not going according to plan based on things that you can't control. Some things are completely out of your control, right? So, what are the three things that I'm going to discuss today? Let's start with the first one. But before we start with the first one, I do want to read a verse that I think is related to the subject at hand. I needed to find my phone. To the subject at hand. It's found in Psalm 3, verse 5 through 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight." So I started with this verse because the first thing that I want you to do if you are feeling like you're way off track from your goal is to go back to God. I say go back to God, not go to God, because I'm assuming before you made your plans, you went to God in the first place and you submitted your plans to Him and He directed your path. But if you feel like you are way off and the 6 months are here, I would say go back to God. Ask God for clarity. Maybe there's something that you did not understand in the instructions that He gave you. Maybe things have changed and you need to shift a little bit in order to meet where God had told you to be, right? So I say go back to God and ask Him for guidance. Ask Him to show you exactly what is going on, what is going wrong, what is it that you are missing in the instructions. Maybe you misunderstood. Maybe there are other things that He wants you to tweak in order for you to get to your goal. So I always say go back to God. As the verse shows and it talks about is we need to submit all our plans to Him first, right? He's the director, He's the CEO. I say if we own any business, we doing our business for God's glory. So go back to Him. Just be like, hey, this is what we've talked about in the beginning. This is what I was going for. And this is where I'm at. So please direct me and show me. And again, if you trust God and if you love Him, you know He loves you back, right? And you know He will direct your path. And a lot of times, it may be that we misunderstood what the instructions were. I know I'm guilty of that where I'm like, oh, I think this is what he's saying. I think this is what it means. And I'll go head first. And it's like, yeah, that was not it. That was not it. That was not it at all. Right. So, and that is okay. That's okay because the grace of God still covers us and He's always there for us. We just have to go back to Him and be like, hey, what is it that I'm supposed to do now? Because sometimes in my personal life, I've realized sometimes He says, do this, but not right now. And in my mind, I'm like, hey, he says do this, so that means go. And sometimes it's like, no, I want you to prepare to go there and do that, not do it right now. So just go back to God and ask Him for His instructions. So that I would say that is the first thing that you need to do. In line with going back, the second thing I would say that you would need to do is go back to the plan. Go back to the original plan. Oftentimes, I think as we grow into the day, we get into a rhythm and then we think we got it and don't realize we're drifting off bit by bit away from the plan. And 6 months later, you realize, whoa, you are way off the plan that you had set, right? For example, let's say in the beginning of the year, you're like, girl, I'm going to walk every day. Every day. Yeah, I know I said every day. You're like, I'm going to walk every day. I'm going to eat spinach. I'm going to eat the right things every day, blah, 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 right? But then what happens when you start moving in that direction and then you start shifting a little bit, of shifting there, shifting here, shifting there, and then before you know it, you are way off track, right? So you had a plan, but you didn't follow the plan every single day. You didn't follow it to the track that you had made and are going off track. So the same thing for your business, the same thing for the goals that you have for this year. I would say go back to the plan. Go back to the plan, look at what it is that you were supposed to do, what is it that you are doing that is part of the plan, and how may you have perhaps drifted from what you have established. And it could be that what you drifted from was supposed to be that, right? But it's important to go back and look at the plan. I say your plan should be in the forefront of your mind every single day. I know it can be hard because you have stuff going, but at least at the end of the week, go back to your plan and look at, okay, did I do what I was supposed to do this week? I always encourage, instead of making a plan for the year, make a plan for the quarter, break it down to the month, and break it down to the weeks, and then break it down per the day. It makes it easier for you to keep track and making sure that you are on track. So if your thing is 6 months in and you like, I don't know how I got here, I suggest go back to your plan. Go back to your plan, figure it out, and look at where you may have been drifted off from that plan, and then go back to that drawing board. Okay, so that is the second thing that I would suggest if you are feeling like, hey, I am way off what I had planned to do. So now this is the last thing. It's going to be the number three, what I think you should focus on if you have if you are in this position where month three has come and you looking at month six. I said month three. Month six come, went back, you're about to go to the seventh month and you have no idea where you are as far as your plans. So the thing is to focus on what matters. This is so important, you guys, because I will tell you, life be lifing. Okay, life be lifing. And things will come up and shift to make you feel like everything else is the priority, right? Everything else will become the priority and make you feel like you have to do this, you have to do that, and you have to do XYZ. Same thing as step two. I said go back to the plan. I would say focus back on what matters. There are so many things that are grabbing our attention, especially in the world right now, in the political arena, and our culture, and what is going on with wars and rumors of wars. It is the time for that, right? So what do you need to do is focus on what matters. Focus on what you're working on. Focus on your goals. Focus on your steps. Focus on everything that you need to focus on in order for you to achieve your goal. One of the things I say to that you may need to refocus on is things that gets you to your bottom line. What really matters? What is the core of your business, what is the core of what it is that will get you to the point that you need to get, right? So oftentimes I feel like because things are shifting, because you feel like you need to be in 10 places at once, you start drifting and leaving your focus. So this is what the third thing would be, is to figure out what it is that matters, figure out what it is that is the core of what you need to accomplish, what it is got what is it, I can't speak today, I'm sorry, what is it that is going to make the biggest impact to your bottom line? What is it that's going to make the biggest impact to your day in order for you to achieve it? I say it's the same thing for any day and any to-do list that you have for yourself, whether that's for the month, the year, the week, the day, is to tackle what matters most. What's going to make the biggest impact? You will have other people that suggest doing the most menial task first in order for you to get momentum going. That if that works for you, then do that. But I would suggest, if you only have time for to do one thing, do the thing that's going to make the most impact to your bottom line. So refocus, go back to the drawing board, and do the things that you need to do. So that's what I wanted to bring out to you today. It are the three things that I feel like, giving the we are at the halfway point to the end of the year. What are some things that you will need to focus on in order for you to get back on track in the remaining 6 months? So the first thing is to go back to God and ask for his guidance so he can direct you where you're supposed to go, right? Do not lean on your own understanding, because a lot of times what we think we understand is not what he means. And speaking from experience, sometimes it's the right thing, not the right time. Sometimes it's the right time, not the right thing, you know? So just go and ask him for clarification, go back to God and get clarity on what it is that you're supposed to do. The second thing, like I said, is go back to the plan. Have you drifted off course? And if you are, you may need to get redirected. Go back to your plan, go back to the drawing board, not the drawing board, but go back to your original plan and see where is it that you may have drifted and what corrections that you will need to take. And then lastly is focused on what matters, because there's a lot of different things that will come up, that will pop off, and not everything that seems to be urgent is important. Remember that. Urgency does not mean important. So just focus on what matters and try to get yourself back on track to meet your goal. So those are the three things I wanted to talk about today. I know today's video was really, really short. I wanted it to get to the point and focus as we are wrapping up this 6 months, so you can have the tools that you need in order for you to get to your bottom line. We will be going back to talking more about sales, more sales tips, and more sales strategy. So stay tuned for that. If there is a specific subject in sales, like how to overcome objections, what questions to ask in your consultation calls, how to properly handle this consultation calls, things like that, leave a comment below and ask your questions, and I will try to answer them in one of the podcasts. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. Again, I will see you guys next week. And if you have questions, let me know. But remember that God has the answer to all of your questions. So don't forget to ask him, as he will guide you, counsel you, and teach you in the way you should go. And that's it for me, guys. I will see you next time. Have a blessed day.